I know it's a bit late there as well, so it makes it a bit harder for you.
I got my Dr. Master Force, so we're good.
Dr. Mutt, what is that even?
It's actually Dr. Shasta, but I call it Dr. Master Force because you buy it from a hardware store, or like not a hardware store, but like a home improvement store. And it's like their brand. It's like their off brand or like their generic brand.
That's awesome.
And their generic tool line is called Master Force as well. So like if I say Master Force and you like live in the Midwest,
yeah,
you would know that I'm talking about Menards.
wow.
If you like know tools a little bit.
Right.
And that's where you buy this. So
I've never. Anyway,
no way that you would ever know that.
No. Does it taste like Dr. Pepper at all?
Yeah, it's like Dr. Pepper.
All right. Welcome to Behind the Backspace, where we discuss mechanical gearboards with streamers and people in the community so we can get a better upside of the process and state of the hobby. Also get to know Jack a bit more.
Hello.
Jack is a young entrepreneur, a Pikatea and innovative force in the mechanical keyboard. As the mastermind behind Pikatea, a leading company renowned for crafting custom macro pads, keyboards,
Yep.
Jack brings a unique blend of creativity, technical expertise to the keyboard enthusiast community. From Jack's innovative approach to parametric designs, pushing the boundaries of form and function, to the mastery of keycap coding.
Yeah.
Keycap coding. Your streams are a tech lover's dream come true. But it's not just about the hardware. Your passion for the artistry of keyboard customization and the thrill of the build shines through on every keystroke that you make. So yeah, welcome, Jack.
Yeah. That sums it up pretty good right there.
That's a pretty big intro. But yeah, how are you? Like,
I'm doing great.
Doing great?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
For people that don't know you, where are you from? Like, what's your origin story?
Yeah. So I live in the United States, right in the Midwest in Iowa.
Mhm.
Been in Iowa my whole life. Well,
Yep.
not my whole life, but basically my whole life. Yeah. I'm 26. I've got a wife who is due for 2 babies in about a month.
2 babies, as in twins.
Yep.
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 Are they boy, girl, boy?
They're 2 boys.
2 boys. Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I started Pikatea about 4 years ago, just out of my apartment that I was living in. I started with these under-mounted macro pads, which
Are
I've
very
mounted
popular.
on those. Yeah, I've been selling those for about 4 years. I've sold about 6,000 of them.
Yeah, wow.
That's my bread and butter. But after you make your 6,000th macro pad, you want to do other stuff as well. And where I like to make other keyboards as well. I've done some.
Yep.
I like to just push the boundaries, like Beige said, like
100%.
weird keyboards. I did a cat-shaped keyboard. I did a 7-foot long keyboard.
7 foot tall? Would you call it long or tall?
It depends on how you're holding it, I guess.
7 foot tall? Yeah, because it's massive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do have some news on that, but I'm not sure if I can disclose that.
Nope.
Yeah, I've done.
Is it getting featured on some big streamers thing?
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yep, I've also done some really weird layouts as well.
Yeah.
With like the spacebar on the top. Well, you don't actually use the spacebar as a spacebar; you use it as a backspace. But the actual 7U key goes on the top, on the 5th row.
Yep.
But yeah, I just like to have fun with it, and Pikatea used to be my source of income, my primary source of income, and I did that for 2 years, and it was stressful, and it was right in the boom of where COVID was in. Like the market for custom keyboards was really big, and now it's not so. And so this is not my source of income. I probably am not making money at all.
Yeah.
It's borderline.
Well, you need something now that you're having kids on the way. You need something a bit more stable. So it's good to have.
Yep.
This is your hobby, and it has been a really financially. It has been pretty good in the past, but obviously slowing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it helps that I was able to do it full time for 2 years. I've got everything implemented, and now I can coast along on the bare minimum. My overhead's pretty low, So I'm free to make wacky keyboards, to not sell anything for 2 months, and it's not a huge deal. Yeah, I like to just have fun with it, and I think that's super important with this hobby.
Yeah.
Something that I found when I was doing this full time was I would make products to sell them
Yeah.
and not make products because they're fun and that
Yeah.
people want. Well, there is a overlap there.
Mhm.
Typically, you sell things that people do want, but it's not always a perfect overlap. And
It's true.
yeah,
Mm.
then you get like the stress of like what happens when you make a mistake and it costs you like
Costs you two
3,
two
4
macro
grand.
pads or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Costs you something big.
Um, yep.
Not very fun.
So that's basically me.
That's good. Also, Jack, not your real name, which we know.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that,
Yeah.
but we now know that Jack is not your real name, but that's okay. We don't have to reveal your real name. That's okay. But on stream, we did find out. That was a bit of a
Yeah, that
blow to
was a
a lot of
fun
people.
surprise.
That
Yep.
was a bit of a blow to a lot of people. We've discussed before, again, on stream. Entertain us with a story of how Pikatea, the name Pikatea, came about.
Sure. Yeah. Um, Pikatea doesn't have anything to do with keyboards at all, and it doesn't really have any, like, deep meaning. Just, like, really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, looking back, I wish it did because it's, like people ask me this all the time, and it's, like, this really dumb story, but so, basically, picture me, little high school Jack, playing Minecraft with my friend Nathan, as you do, 10 years ago, right? And my dad comes into the room and he had went to the store and got some like different types of teas, like an Arnold Palmer, like a peace tea.
Blows my mind, this story.
I know. Just a bunch of different like drinks and stuff, and they included teas. And he comes in and he's like, "Hey guys, pick a tea." And Nathan turns to me and he's like, "What's a Pikatea?" And so we had this inside joke for like
Yeah.
years and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then when I was trying to come up with a company name, I was asking Nathan if he had any ideas. And he was like, "What if he just like used our inside joke?" Yeah. And
That's
so I was
great.
like,
I love
"Well,
that.
sure." It doesn't like that was the goal. Is like I didn't want it to be specifically keyboard related
Yeah.
because there is that chance that like rebranding or anything like that. Like, yeah. And I didn't want like, yeah. So Picatee it was. And it's
It's
other
been great.
than people butchering the name
Yeah.
pretty easily, and
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's great, though. I love that story. I absolutely love the story. Thanks for that. Well, let's talk about your personal life, if you're okay with this. So I know
yeah.
you were married very young, and
Mhm.
as a young person being married, how is that different for you now being 26, married, now having kids? Are your friends around the same sort of thing? Or because myself, I was married before at 25. So I was quite married quite early and then divorced and then married again after having kids. So, I mean, I'm quite late, a late bloomer
Sure.
in a lot of ways. And I wish it would have happened like at your age. If I
Yeah.
was at your age. But how are you finding that whole process of pregnancy and marriage and all that sort of stuff? Like, are your friends in that
Yeah.
same sort of scenario or no?
So one thing that we got married when we both had a year left of college,
Mm,
as well, which was,
in college
actually
still.
pretty awesome.
That's
Um,
crazy.
doing classes with, like, your wife is just super fun, and it was during COVID as well, so we were just stuck at home all day, like, every day for,
2019?
like, a whole
You saying
whole
2019, 2020?
2019 and 20, yeah, yeah, I graduated in December of 2020.
There you go.
So, that was just awesome, and it sucked that we didn't get to have a big wedding, but, like,
Yep. It's overrated. I'll tell you.
honestly yeah, and Uh, we got, like, this huge discount and basically reimbursement for tuition because we were, like, considered married and, like, non-traditional students. Like, I think normally I would pay, like 20 grand a year for school or something like that, and I
Okay.
think that year we paid, like, 3 or 4.
Bro,
So, like, the
that's
best
cool.
financial decision I've ever made, really.
You didn't know that
So,
before you got married?
I knew about it, but I didn't know it'd be that big, and
Yeah.
but you don't wanna, like, rush into things, like, to
Mm.
save money, like,
No, that doesn't make sense. That's true.
that's not a good idea.
No,
Don't get that idea,
no.
but if you have the opportunity to get married when you're in college, like, it's pretty awesome. So, yeah, but we did get married pretty young.
Do you have a lot of friends that
Uh,
are getting married at that age as well, like in college and stuff, or it was no?
Not really. No, we were the first. So, just so you guys have context, I've been married for 4 years, or I will be married for 4
Yep.
years in August.
Mhm.
Um, so August 2020
Yep.
is when I got married. And most of the friends that we have now, like, so we moved cities after we graduated, and most of the friends that we have now, we've met through our church, and
And
they are kind of in the same life stages as us, but they're, like, 3 or 4 years older.
mm,
And you don't really, like, after you graduate, like, you don't really, like, worry about age a lot
no.
anyways. So we feel like we're in the right spot. Every now and then I remember, it's like, "Oh, yeah, like, all my friends are, like, 30." And it's
True.
like, "You know what? I'm pretty happy about that."
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm in this great spot, but I'm also really young.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you in college, because you were married, you wouldn't have gone partying, you would have gone like crazy as other college students would have, I guess, back in the days.
Really?
Yeah.
Not really, that wasn't really my thing.
Mm,
Like, I didn't go, like, do that sort of thing, like, every weekend. I
mm,
certainly have, and maybe, like, my freshman year, I did a little bit more, but
yeah.
yeah,
No, that's cool.
I mean,
It's still such a it is a great thing. And like, I mean, looking back for me, I got more pressured or peer pressured into getting married at the time,
mm,
being that I kind of peer pressured myself into getting married because my parents married super early. Like they were 18, 19
yeah,
when they got married, like super, super early.
mm,
And I was like, dude, I'm 25. I have to get there. Like, how do I get there? And then I just pushed myself
yeah,
into it, which overall was a bad idea. But in the
mm,
end, it actually came out better because I was actually better financially at the end of the marriage, being that I was able to sell the house, get quite a bit of money, move over to Brisbane and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a unfortunate years wasted, but came out of it much better off overall. So, yeah,
hmm.
that's my story.
Yeah,
Very brief
I would
story,
say
but yeah,
like, going into it, like, you don't, especially at that age, like, you don't, like, you just can't know for sure
no,
how things go. But, yeah, I mean, just go with your gut and
that's it. All right, well, let's talk about making things. You're making babies, which is awesome.
yeah.
We're not going to talk about making baby. I'm going to talk like the babies overall.
That might be an off, like,
Yeah, but how has that sort of changed your life? Like, you going to scans regularly every 2 months or something like that?
yeah, yeah, so
Seeing the little fetus moving in there is just it's a pretty amazing thing. When I looked at it first, I was like,
yeah,
"What
it's
is happening?"
wild.
Being
It's
this
ab
size, it's like it just comes out of nowhere. That's crazy.
it's absolutely wild.
Mm,
Just, like, just the fact that, like, there's babies inside of Bethany, like,
yep.
and they're, like, moving around and stuff, and then, like, I'm excited for when they're born and, like, they can recognize my voice,
Yeah.
and something that, like, we've been joking about, Bethany and I have been watching a lot of NCIS, which I don't know if you're familiar with that show or not.
Mhm.
Are you?
Ding,
Yeah.
ding.
So, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, we're joking that, like, they're gonna, like, recognize that theme song, like, pretty it's a pretty long theme song, it's
It's
pretty, like,
super long, yeah.
yeah. So,
That's pretty funny.
yeah.
I like that.
Um,
I like that.
but overall, like, Bethany's been doing pretty good.
Mm,
As for, like, twins, like,
mm,
obviously, it's a little bit harder.
yep.
I think a lot of women have, like, this period of maybe, like, 2 months where it's, like, this, like, happy medium,
Yeah, mid-pregnancy is,
like,
like,
the middle,
better.
yeah, mid-pregnancy where it's like, "Oh, I feel great, I'm not nauseous, and I'm not, like, my back isn't hurting yet, and I don't feel super big."
Yeah.
Um, and I can still be mobile, and I think Bethany had, like, a week of that,
Damn.
which kinda sucked,
That's really bad. That
but
sucks, yeah.
we're getting 2 babies out of it, so,
Yeah.
you can't really complain
Oh, that's
at
true.
all.
That's true. No, that's so cool. I just love that. So yeah, we'll have some updates on that, I think, later down the track. I'd
Yep,
love to
yep.
have a chat to you. Obviously not right after you've given birth or had the kids, but like,
Yeah, you'll be my first phone call.
month. I'd be honored to. And I know it'd be like family.
Dang.
I guess we covered off quite a bit of the business stuff anyway, but I'll go through the questions and see if there's any different answers. But what inspired you to start your own niche of the keyboard macro pads? What sort of what got you into that? Was it like having a chat to your friend Nathan and like discussing, oh, I want this on my desk, or yeah,
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I've always been making things,
mm,
like, always,
yeah,
ever since I was really little. Always wanting to create stuff, and I've also done a lot of, I've always had that entrepreneurship mindset a little bit.
yeah.
I think everybody's, gone through, a duct tape wallet phase or whatever, where they make duct tape wallets and they sell them, or at least, the people that have my sort of personality do.
Have any duct tape wallets that you could show me? I'm kidding.
Nope. But, yeah, I love making stuff, and I made the first macro pad out of just necessity. I had a bunch of keyboards that I didn't remember the macros for,
Yeah.
and I needed a macro pad.
Hmm.
But I also didn't want to take up any desk space, so that's where I decided to go with an undermounted version. And
Came from your own necessity of what were those macros that you wanted on there?
music,
Music. Okay.
yeah,
Like media.
yeah,
Always media.
and that's why there's a knob and there's 5 buttons, because
Yeah.
that's all you really need.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
So I did that, and um, that's how it started. But
Mm.
something that a lot of people actually don't know about me, and I don't share it a lot because, well, yeah, I mean, it happened, whatever.
Hmm.
I actually started a company, or I tried to start a company my freshman year of college. So this would have been, I started Pikatea the end of my junior year of college, basically right before, right when Bethany and I started dating.
Hmm.
But my freshman year of college, I actually started this, or I made this product that was keyboard related, and I sold, I don't even remember how many, not a significant amount, like maybe a couple hundred, but they were these. Let me actually go grab
Yeah. Yeah. Grab one.
something to help illustrate this. So this is a TKL
Hmm.
with a motorized slider in it. So you got this would be for an audio setup.
Yep. And
You
it
can
would
control volume with
automatically
this
moves and
typically.
stuff if it's like,
Yeah, so normally these would be found in a professional audio grade,
yeah.
professional grade audio mixers, where you'd have 16, let's say you have 16 channels, but you could have 4 sliders, and then you just cycle through the 4 different banks, and
Yeah.
then it would move to represent which bank you're currently representing.
Yeah.
This is the prototype.
As it is.
So
Yeah. That's fun.
as it is,
Hmm?
you can see there's a motor here. So
Yep.
this slider thing, is I basically made this standalone module where
Yep.
it would attach to the keyboard, and that was the product.
Hmm.
So this is integrated into the keyboard,
Yeah.
and the purpose of this is so that it can move around as an form of output as well.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
I
a
love
lot of
that.
keyboards, obviously, they're all input.
Hmm.
Very little of them represent any sort of output. So
That's true.
you could have this slider vibrate to notifications, or you could have it
Mm.
represent the current volume level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What?
I didn't really finish that story.
Oh.
So with that slider,
Oh yeah. The slider. Yes.
I yeah. So I started that company called Slide KB.
Hmm.
So I created the product, I packaged them up,
Hmm.
I sent them out. The problem is I wasn't, I was studying software engineering at the time,
Hmm.
or computer science, and I had software running, but it wasn't I just wasn't capable enough to really deliver a streamlined package of
Gotcha.
software. And so I ended up just releasing all of the firmware,
Hmm.
and
Kind of making it open source kind of thing. You mean?
yeah, I just released everything and said I can't support this anymore, unfortunately. And I regret well, I don't regret that, but I wish that there was a different outcome to that,
Mm,
because I didn't like exit scam or anything like that. Like, I
no.
delivered the product,
Yeah.
but it didn't really work great.
Okay.
Like, it was just a crappy product, really.
So it felt bad at the start. Like,
But the thing is, I learned so much from doing that, that I think I would have flopped on Picatee if I hadn't have done that.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So,
because a lot of times your failures become more your strengths because you learn a lot
oh
from
yeah,
those failures, like a lot.
oh yeah,
On that,
definitely.
what are the biggest challenges you faced in starting the business, Piketty?
I'm really bad at marketing.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, that's my biggest challenge, is just selling.
selling. Yeah.
Yeah, and time management, but I don't
Have you thought
not
about having someone come in and like do the sales, do the marketing, or something like that?
yeah, but it's like it's a difficult equation to solve,
Yeah.
because you can't just bring someone in half-assed,
Yeah.
and usually you have to pay somebody a good amount to, like, not do that,
hmm
to so that you can get a quality result,
Yeah.
and that's a big risk for where I'm at. Like, I don't have it's not my main source of income, it really doesn't,
hmm I've
you
been
know,
through
I
that as well. Like, I actually, at one point in my own business, because I don't know if you know this, but I had my own computer shop for 5 years, and I was doing
okay.
repairs and going on sites, doing businesses, all that sort of stuff. This is one of the things that sort of was my downfall. Was business was slowing up and stuff like that. So I trusted someone that was recommended to me to market my business, to go out and call these businesses, to give me leads, all that sort of stuff. 3 months go past. I've paid him more than $12,000. Nothing. Absolutely nothing
Nothing,
from him.
dang.
So
Yeah,
that really put me in a massive hole. And
yep,
being able to trust someone at the start because they were recommended and stuff like that is very difficult. And I thought, look, I'm going to trust them because this person knows them, and it's a great relationship that I have with this person. So why would it be any different to that? But that was a very different experience. That trusting someone to push your brand as much as you want them to push it, as well as actually build on it. Most people have their own best interests in heart, unfortunately, and that was a
yeah,
very difficult situation for me, which ended up with me having to shut down my business. So it really sucked. So it
yeah, that's what
coincided
I'm
with that as well as COVID. Between that and COVID meshed together, it was just I was well in
mm,
debt by then, and
yeah.
it was rough.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen happen with other companies, other keyboard companies that have gone under, is they get in over their head,
Mm,
which obviously, if I find the right person
mm, that's true.
and they do a good job, like, I would be selling more and I could pay them, right? But it's like it's if I find the wrong person,
hmm It
then
could
I'm
go really
wasting a
badly.
ton of
Yeah.
money.
That.
I'm not in a position where my company needs that. Like, I don't need that. I've got a full-time job. Most of my company is automated.
Yep.
Like, all the tedious stuff is automated so that I
Mhm.
don't have to put in a ton of time.
Yep.
I do need to get better at, like, at marketing though,
I would say,
but
like, those strengths do come with time
yeah,
because you're primarily creating the products, which is awesome, and knowing that the products are going to succeed rather than whereas in the past you've put out a product, like you said, was not quite there. And I like that you're doing a lot more than other products that I've seen. You're doing a lot more peer testing and reviewing and stuff like that than 90%
yeah.
of other people. So
Oh, yeah.
I really like
I
that,
can't
the way
afford
that
to
you've
take risks like that.
mm, mm. No, I really like that. What was I going to say? Yeah, balancing. We're getting back into more business stuff, but balancing the creativity and the business acumen and family life
Hmm.
can be like tap dancing on a tightrope.
Yep.
How do you find that middle ground?
Sometimes you don't.
True. That's so true.
Yep. And do you wanna do you want how about we go over both perspectives of, like, when I was doing this full time and
Mhm.
where I'm at now?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So, when I was doing it full time, I worked a lot.
Mhm.
Like, I got up at 7, and I worked until 5. And if things weren't done, and if things needed to get done
Mm.
in order to succeed, you have to work more.
Yeah.
Especially when you promise dates, you
That
have
would
to
have
get
been
things out
when
the
you were
door.
moving, like, the new, like,
Yeah,
3
so newly married. I have this picture that I will show. I will pull up.
Mm.
So here's 2 photos of this is our first apartment just after we got married.
Yep.
So we got married in August. You can see our Christmas tree is there. So that's like the timeline. This is our very first production run.
Yep.
We had 900 orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So,
That's
yep.
huge.
So we had 900 orders. That's not all 900 of them.
No.
That's maybe like 700 of them. But
Yeah, wow.
yeah, so like that Christmas, we literally boxed orders the entire December, Bethany and I, together, straight, like
Yeah, wow.
12-hour days all the way through December.
Yep.
So to answer your question of like how do you balance it, sometimes when you own a small business, if you wanna succeed, you don't get that
Yeah.
luxury.
Yeah. It has to
Um,
take over at some
but
point.
some people, that's more important to them, and so they might not it's a balance, like, you gotta sacrifice something
Yeah.
usually, and, um, the nice thing was is Bethany and I could do it together, so,
That's awesome.
it wasn't terrible. But, yeah, so then moving forward with that, I really tried to work on implementing features and software and processes to help streamline everything so
Mhm.
that I didn't have to work extra hours and I made less mistakes and stuff like that. Because
No, that's great.
something that like I I grew up with my dad owning a construction company on the side, and I was with him a lot building houses and stuff like on the weekends and after
Yeah.
in the afternoons and the evenings. And to me, like that was my dad working late and working extra hours to me was a great experience
Yeah.
because I got to spend time with my dad and
True.
build stuff.
Yeah,
But
otherwise,
Bethany's dad,
if you're not there, it's you don't get to see them.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Whereas Bethany's dad owns a body shop and he's swamped as well,
yeah.
usually. And she didn't have a positive experience with that because he was always in the body shop
Mm.
working on cars. Um, and she wasn't with him. So like, getting married, like you gotta bring these expectations of like, what do you expect? What do I like? What do I expect? And like, I had to learn that like, I can't work late. Like I shouldn't work late and it's not a positive thing. Like,
Yeah. You want it to be
so,
a part of your life, but, like, you don't want it to take over everything, every aspect of your life. That's the thing.
right. Right.
Yeah,
So,
I
so yeah,
100%
then,
agree. Yeah.
yeah. So then I moved into like this, I decided sales were declining. We had like COVID wasn't really much of a thing anymore.
Mm.
People were returning to the office. The keyboard market was not. And so I decided this isn't going to work. So I'm going to find a full time job where they pay me regularly
Yeah.
and consistently.
That's it.
Also, trying to buy a house with like being self employed is just
It's
really difficult.
it's a non-thing. You can't do it. I was there too. Like,
So
with my own business, I
yeah,
was paying myself, but not enough for the bank to go, "Hey, you're actually getting an income," and stuff like that. I was like, "Well,
right.
okay, well, how do we get a loan then?" "Well, maybe we just drop your name off of the application, just have your wife's income." I was like, "We can do that?" And it actually worked out, like, it was 100% better without me in the picture at all.
That's so funny.
Yeah, like, because they viewed my income as more negative than a positive, which is the
Yeah.
weirdest thing. So,
Yeah. Like you have to prove, like, you have to have 2 years of
and
financials and all that
profits and
stuff, and
all
they
that.
have to be good.
Yeah,
And yeah, like we waited to buy a house because we didn't like we couldn't buy one. We couldn't get a loan.
yeah.
And I knew that like I had to have 2 years under my belt. And so
Mm.
that 2 years came up and then that was about right when I was like, you know what? I'm actually just gonna get a full-time job. So yeah, I got that. And so then that like 6 month period was hard to like move from like
Yeah.
doing a full-time job and a part-time job. But
Mm.
eventually I got it down to where, yeah, I'm probably only putting like 10 hours a week into Picatee.
Yep. No, that's cool.
So
I love that you're able to cut back quite a lot, that you're at a stage where you're not pushing out 20 new products or options of
Yeah.
products and stuff like that. So you're not really pushing yourself over the timeframes in
Yep.
your family life. So that's good.
Definitely change
Mm,
coming up here. Like,
100%.
I have no idea how that's gonna we could be
Mm,
it's something that's been on my mind is just, like, we're talking about Pikatea right now, and in, like, a couple years, it could just be non-existent.
that's the hard thing.
Um,
It's like because it is still popular, and I'm guessing you still get orders constantly, like probably one a day or two a day
yeah,
or something like that.
I
Coming
really
up to having the kids, would you turn off the website for a while?
I don't think I'd ever, like, shut it off completely. I
As in
think
not
I'd
shut it off,
always
as in,
sell
like, stop orders coming in for a brief period of time. Okay.
I don't think I ever really would because, like I said, it is so streamlined.
Yeah.
I get an order, and I have all my inventory already here.
Mhm.
Like, I just put it together and ship it out the door, and it's like,
Okay.
there's no
Mm.
especially with the undermounted macro pads, like, those are so easy for me to do now,
Yeah. That's good.
um, that I think if I did come to the point where it's like, "Okay, I can't do any I have 0 time. The
Mhm.
babies are taking up all my time." The children,
Yes.
uh, I would probably only sell undermounted macro pads, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, just cut back to a thing that's tried and true, and it's
Yeah.
straightforward to do. That makes sense.
Yep. I think something that, like, we should talk about is that
Mm.
the space that I'm in, it's not always just about, like, the money. If I was doing this to make money, I wouldn't be doing this.
True.
And something that I got a message on March 20 from a guy who I'll just read it out. It said, "Hey Jack, I just wanted to personally reach out to you and thank you for inspiring me to get into keyboard design because of the Long Boy. You are one of my favorite people in the hobby because of your design philosophy and personality. Hope you continue to do great things for the hobby. Much love."
Oh, that's
So
so nice. That's awesome.
it's stuff like that, and I've gotten a few messages like that over the years,
Yeah.
and it's like that's the kind
That's
of thing
pretty
that I
cool.
do this for.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to start their business or wants to get into the hobby of selling some form of a niched keyboard option? That
Um,
person that messaged you, what would you say to them?
yeah, I think you definitely need to go in doing it for the right reasons. If you try to do it because you wanna make money, you might be successful, but you're
Yeah.
not gonna have a great time doing it,
No.
and maybe that's what you want. Maybe that's your goal. Maybe that's you, and you can be that person, and, like, that's fine, but, like, it's hard work, and usually it doesn't always work out. I got lucky for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, how
Like,
much
if you
does
don't have
luck
that
come into play with that when you were starting the business? How much luck come into play, do you think?
I think you can manufacture your own luck a little bit.
Yeah.
I think my luckiest moment was that Random Frank P
Mhm.
decided to buy one of my first round macro pads with the intention that he would feature it in his video. And then that video led to 900 orders.
Yeah.
That really kicked off the company.
Random Frank P.
Yeah. So he does like these cool tech videos
Hmm.
under $50 like
Yep.
every month. So
Right,
like
right.
this is my macro pad. Here's an example. It's like I if I would have like I developed the first product, right?
Mhm.
I had the prototype and then I did some more work and I developed a initial product, like a round one product that I felt comfortable with selling. And I put it on Reddit and I really wasn't super experienced with like pricing and stuff. And I thought I'm a college student. I don't need a crap ton of money. What I really want to do is get this product in people's hands. And so what I did, I think it cost me like $30 in materials or $35 in materials. And I was like, you know what? Let's do $50 per order, which like when you sell 100 of them, that's 1500 order 15 $1,500 and
Yeah.
it's not a whole lot for like the amount of effort that you put into all that.
No.
Like you with a full-time job, you make that in a month easy.
Mhm.
So, like, it wasn't priced great, and it sold out in, like, an hour or, like, 2 hours.
Yeah, wow.
So, it was definitely very underpriced, but because I picked $50 and I got lucky that Random Frank P saw that, his videos, he only does like he doesn't only do these, but like his most popular series is cool tech under $50.
Yep.
So if I would have like gone to an expert and been like, here, analyze the market, and
Yep.
like they would have been like, oh, you need to price this at like $75.
Yeah. It would have
And I
been
would have
not.
made money, like more money initially, but I would not be where I am right now
That's true.
without that.
That's true.
So that's like an example of luck where it's like you just can't control that stuff.
No way. That's awesome. Has there been any other times that's been the case? Like you'll get featured on something else and then you've had a lot of orders, or is it sort of more of a one-off and then it's been trickle since then?
No, not really. And I've never had as much success as I've had since then
Right.
from a video, from something like that. And I think it's not because of the quality of the video or something like that. I think I was like in the perfect market space as well, because by the time that Frank made the video, like 6 months later, like it was like the height of COVID. It was July 2020.
Yeah.
And that, like, I don't know if I would love to get some numbers, like some retroactive numbers of like what the actual market space was. Just, and maybe I could just do that myself by like going to my website and looking at like page visits and stuff. But yeah, like that's why there were just so many keyboard companies that were started around that time. And then also 2 years later, a lot of keyboard companies, maybe not 2 years, like 3 or 4 years later. Nowadays, there's a lot of companies that are going bankrupt.
Yeah. They're not
Because they got
around so much.
in over their heads.
Yeah. Being that you create your own keyboards so much, do you generally get into group buys and stuff like that at all?
No.
No.
Nope.
Nothing at all.
Nope.
I like that
The
answer.
most expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a little different than a lot of keyboard enthusiasts. I don't typically go after the really premium stuff.
Yeah. I'm not a premium goer.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be high quality.
True.
It definitely needs to be high quality, but it doesn't need to be premium to where I'm spending $300 on the case and $200 on the keycaps.
Yeah.
Although I have been getting some pretty nice keycaps lately. But
now I don't want to move my camera, but my Sequence up there, like the one that I didn't buy, I got it from Alex Otis, is still my most expensive keyboard because I don't like spending $200 just on a case. Like this is my most recent keyboard, is this one here, which is a GMK 67 from AliExpress. Wireless, beautiful keyboard. Works premium for it is. It's gasket mounted. It sounds awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
But people
I've
shy away from it, and I don't get shying away from a cheaper product just because it's a cheaper product. But it's still a quality product. It sounds really good, feels good. I just don't get that.
I can understand why people do it though. I can understand, for one, I don't have as much disposable income as a lot of other people. So there's that. But then I think a lot of people that might only have like one or two keyboards where they're really nice and they're really premium like that makes sense.
It does make sense.
I've literally probably got like 20 or 25 keyboards that are functioning. I'm just looking at them all.
What keyboard is on your desk right now?
This is the prototype for the KP69.
Oh.
So it's the same layout.
Yeah.
Same layout. Got the knob.
Yep.
The uncoated brass knob. It's got the shard.
So good.
3D print, which is freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the Pikatea. This is
Is it two parts or one part?
2 parts.
Yep.
2 parts, and it's printed with a multi-material printer. So you've got black and white there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's like super duper. It's got this 2-part back plate. You can see a line there. Yeah, this is all one part. And then
that
the plate and the circuit board go in there, and then you just cover it up with the back piece.
Oh, yeah. Since we're segueing into 3D printers.
Sure.
How much fun is actually owning a 3D print farm? Like, what's your favorite printer out of your print farm?
You're making an assumption there.
Assumption that you have a favorite of any of them?
No, you're assuming that it's fun.
Wow.
Which it largely is. It largely is. But as time, I've had a printer for like 6 years, and it's not as fun as it used to be.
That's true. You lose the
Yep.
spark that you had for
Yeah.
it. But for if it's working for your business, it's different. Whereas mine is, I've had printers for 6-7 years now, same as you probably,
Yeah.
and I love it. But nowadays, I'm like, do I really want to set it up and then start printing something and then it's going to fail and then I have to fix it up,
Yep.
and it's just
Yeah. Yeah. You know it.
it's frustrating, especially
Yeah.
since I want to do things a lot quicker nowadays, and these 3D printers are not as quick. The one that I have,
Yep.
anyway, it still prints at like 50 millimeters a second or something. It's very slow. So
Yeah.
I tried to put on a bigger nozzle, and it doesn't print as well. And like, there's all these things which, for me, I don't find it as fun anymore. But still pretty. I still have that excitement of, hey, I can print something out of nothing. Like, I can come up
Yeah.
with an idea.
That's always fun.
That's the best part about it, is like, I can come up with an idea, go into Fusion 360, make the design, make
Yep.
it functional, hit print, and there's something in my hand in like an hour. That's the
Yeah.
coolest part still. Is something
Yeah. Definitely the
in my
coolest
brain
part.
and then it's in my hand.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely the coolest part of it. It's sucky when you have like I have 5 3D printers.
Mhm.
No, I only have 4 now. I got rid of one.
Yeah.
And like half of them work at the moment, and so you got to repair the other 2, and then
How much downtime before you like, I'm better off just replacing, like buying a new one?
I think with some of them
Like the multicolor, probably this, you always try to fix that because it's a lot more expensive. But like the other ones,
yeah,
you want to definitely just like, my one's a $200 printer. I could just go out and buy another one, and it would work
yeah.
out
So
in
I've got
lots.
I've got 2 Prusas, and I think if I had like a major failure, like if like
Mhm.
the main board failed, I'd probably replace the whole printer.
Yeah,
But the thing is like there's a hidden cost to that,
that's true.
which this gets into whole managing a whole print farm. Let's pretend one of my Prusas, I've got 2 Prusas. Let's say one of those, the board gets fried.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's no longer usable. For one, I'm not really like nothing critical is I'm not in like this critical spot. I've got
yeah.
3 other printers.
You have
Uh,
redundancy, so
I have 1 other Prusa,
mhm.
so the exact same printer right there.
Yeah,
I have options to print, so it's like I'm not like totally screwed. So I'm not in a rush.
yeah,
I can order a new board. It'll cost me 100 and whatever, $200 at most, maybe. I can pull out the old one, put the new one in, and I'm good to go for the most part.
yeah.
It would maybe take me a day.
You may have to do a
Uh,
couple of e-steps or something like that to fix it up, like e-step configuration,
yeah,
just to
yeah, it's
100% make it accurate, because out of the box,
yep,
they are accurate, but never perfect to your motors and stuff like that, so
yeah. So I'd have to do like a little bit of tweaking, but
mm,
for the most part, I'd be off to go. But if let's say I replace that, I gotta like set up all the software to control it.
true.
I've got to configure it.
Mhm.
It's usually,
A new
I think,
Raspberry Pi or
a
something.
board, yeah, a board replacement would probably be the most intensive, to where it costs a lot and it costs a lot of time. And so I think at that point, I probably would actually replace it. But
Yeah,
if there's like an extruder jam, I'm just gonna like fix the extruder. Like I'm not
yeah,
gonna replace the whole thing.
that's
So
true. Okay, sorry. I'm loving this conversation, by the way.
yeah. What was your initial question though about the printers? Like
Oh, it's just like,
which one's my
what's your
favorite?
favorite printer? Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a Rat Rig 500,
Mhm.
which is a ginormous printer that lets me print really big things. So
Yep.
that's what I use to print the Long Boy. And it's largely my favorite, but it's also the most work. It's not the most reliable because
Yeah.
it's got this huge, massive build plate.
Yep.
And what people might not realize is that, and what I didn't realize when I bought this as well, the bed needs to be perfectly flat to print really well. And if it's not perfectly flat, there's sensors on the tool head which will detect the flatness of it and account for that and adjust
Yep.
so that the distance between the head and the bed stays the same as
Relatively
it
same.
prints around.
Yeah.
The problem is that as you heat up the bed, the temperature likes to,
It'll warp the bed slightly.
yes, and when it's so massive, and it's also an aluminum, it sits on an aluminum plate,
Yeah.
so which that helps transfer the heat, but like I have to wait 15 minutes every time that I want to
Yeah.
print on that with it heated, which is like annoying. And with the Prusas, you just hit print. Like you don't have to do anything. So
Have you ever thought about getting a what are the printers called? The ones where it's got they're stacked.
yeah, like the Deltas.
Deltas. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. I've owned a Delta. That was my very first printer. It was
Yeah.
a Monoprice
Because
Delta
I
printer.
always wanted to get a Delta, but then I was like, why is it so different? It's such a
Yeah,
different
I think
printer, and
the
why
disadvantage is the build plate, the
size?
size.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
tallness, you can do massive tall things, but
You could. Yeah.
is it good or not? No.
Yeah. You do get a lot of print area for the amount that it takes up, which
Yes,
is also good, but that's not a huge concern
you
for
would
a
have
lot of people.
to design things specifically for the Delta as well, because the FDM printers, I find I like to design quite a flat surface, but if you're designing on a Delta, you would actually have to elongate it up that way, which means there's a lot more surface area which you need to.
I think if you were to have a Delta printer, you wouldn't use a lot of the vertical space that you would actually have.
No, you would end up just
Yeah.
doing the same as what you would do on a small bit plate, which is not ideal, obviously.
Yeah. They are cool as heck, though.
Mm. All right, well, it's been a massively long hour, and I don't want to. I know it's like your bedtime.
No, that's all right. I'm good.
Okay, well, let's rapid fire through a couple of questions anyway. Favorite Switch?
Favorite Switch? I don't know. Okay. I've got a favorite Switch. It's Blue Bonnets.
Okay, cool.
And the reason why it's my favorite is because they're really cheap.
Yeah,
And they're pretty
that's fair.
decent.
That's fair.
Yeah, like they're not like the best Switch ever, but I remember
Yeah,
like when I saw them, I got some B stock Switches. I ordered like a couple thousand of them, and I was like super pumped that like yes, I'm getting like these Switches that I can use for prototypes and stuff.
yep.
So yeah,
Deal. Okay, there you go.
Zeal
Clickies.
cookies. Yep.
I wouldn't have picked you for clickies, but that's
Yeah, they're just a fun. So my camera's freaking out.
it is. That's all good. Favorite keycaps? Do you have a favorite keycaps?
I really like. I'll show them. I really like. Was it Pyga?
Pygas, yes.
These ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like Pygas too.
Pyga's definitely one of my favorites. It's
I
got like to it, which is just so awesome.
yeah, I bought some purple Pygas from AliExpress, so I was like, you know what? I'll pick those up and see how they go, and they look so good. Purple.
Yeah, those are definitely my favorite.
Have you
Yeah,
seen the black Pygas as well?
no, I haven't.
That's amazing too. You should check those out.
I don't want to see them because I'll buy them.
It's true.
I have too many. You're not helping.
I'm not supposed to be helping. Split backspace, yes or no?
No.
No? Okay. Spacebar.
Nope.
I think you already said it, but 6.25
On the
7U
top.
or split. Well, okay.
On the top.
That doesn't help. But you already like 7U, really, right?
It doesn't matter. Like half of my boards are probably 6.25 and half of them are 7U.
Okay. No preference on that.
Some of them are both.
That's true. That's true. Your funky is both, isn't it? So
No, look at this. Look.
wait.
This is the
Oh
F
yeah.
board.
Oh yeah, F board, yeah.
We've got the I think
6.25
this is the 6.25 here and the 7U up here. So
You're mad. You're absolutely mad. I love it. I love it so much. If you were a keyboard shortcut, what would you be?
if I was a keyboard shortcut, I'd be play pause.
Play pause like the button? Just one button?
Maybe.
Not like function play pause? Or
I was a keyboard shortcut.
Well, like, okay, so Bannock Tech said he would be Alt S because that's what he uses quite a lot in his day to day.
Yeah, I would probably be.
It's a random question, I know, but like, I'd love
It's a
the answer.
it's a really interesting question. Like it. Yeah, I would probably say.
Play pause is fine. I rate.
Yeah, I mean, I use that a lot. I listen to a lot of music while
Yeah.
I'm working, and it's on my macro pads.
Yep. That's awesome. Do you have any questions for Beige, lad? That's me, by the way.
No, what I do have a question actually.
Yeah.
What is your next keyboard gonna be? What's on the radar? Oh, the tech deck.
My tech deck board.
Yeah.
So I attached
Wow.
it to a Testis 68, just glued it on. And then the cool thing is, because tech is modular, you can just, you got the little
You just
thing that you just
wow.
pop it on. And then,
That's
and then you could ride it with your tech deck.
oh man.
It's so cool. It's so random, but I've always wanted
It is.
it. It's always been in my mind. I'm like, I need to add a tech deck to a keyboard, and
Yeah.
there you go. And because, yeah, like I said, because it's modular, you can add more. I can add more that because I cut them up to make it fit as well. So tech deck is usually double size. That's usually
Oh, okay.
double that. So I actually cut these down the middle with my soldering iron to see that my the stairs that I cut out to make fit.
Could you have 3D printed them?
I could have, but I would have had to design it. I don't think there was
Yeah.
any tech decks, half size tech decks again. So I would have had to
Yeah.
design it or adjust it. It was easier for me to buy a $30 set, use my soldering
Yeah.
iron to cut it in half, basically. Because I got a super thin soldering iron as well, so super thin one.
Yes.
So it makes good for cutting plastic, especially that sort of plastic, which is quite thick. But yeah, that's my next keyboard, which I'm still in the midst of because I want to tidy it up a bit. It's still too open,
Yeah.
like in the back and stuff like that. So I just want to tidy it up, make it look quite clean. But having the ability to like modularize it is just, it's so cool.
Yeah. That's
And
fun.
like put the railing there if you want it. That railing can come down here on the. It's so cool, man. It's so random, but it's my thing that I'm not even into tech decks so much, but I've never seen that attached to a keyboard before. So
Yeah. Yep.
I,
That's super cool.
I had planned, or not, I had planned, I had semi designed it already on paper, and I was going to make my own design of a keyboard with the tech deck experience kind of thing. But my sizing or scaling on my model was totally off and it looked like shit. So
Mm.
I ended up just
Yeah.
that way is much better. Just
Yep.
hack it into place.
I'm here.
But yeah, thanks for that. Do I need to ask you anyway? What projects do you have in the works for the future? Let's go with that.
Yeah. I've got a few things in the works. I think my biggest project that I'm working on is trying to make sure that Bethany stays healthy so that she can have a great birth.
That's fair.
Um
That's really nice.
no.
That's really nice.
Besides that, something that I would like to accomplish, and the reason why I want to do this is because I'm at this point with my business where I don't want to be putting in work if it's not profitable.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's the goal. Eliminate work if it's not profitable, which is very like, well, duh. But the main source of that is prototyping. So
Yeah.
let's say I come up with an idea and I think, oh, that's a great idea.
Mm.
I might gauge some community interest, go through all of this like effort of prototyping.
Mm-hmm.
I design the board, I get the materials, I put the time into to create the design, I assemble it, test it, take photos, make the product page.
Yep.
That all adds up, and then it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
That's like I want to make sure that doesn't happen.
That's
And like our earlier discussion with like marketing and advertising and stuff, like I need to get better at that.
Yeah.
But like for example, the KP17
Mhm.
macro pad, I sold 4.
Mm.
I didn't even order any of them. I just sold the prototypes because
Yeah,
I had
that
5
really sucks.
prototypes.
Oh,
I
one
had
sec.
10 prototypes. Yeah,
That really sucks.
it
Wait.
does. And so the goal is to what I'm trying to accomplish is implement a system where
Hmm.
people can order those ahead of time
Yeah.
even before I prototype them.
Pre-ordering would make it so much easier. It's like even paying as much as $1 or something like that to pre-order, just to actually fully confirm that they're gonna buy it rather than just, "Oh, yeah, I'm interested in this. I really wanna buy it,"
Yeah.
and then maybe they flake out later.
Yeah, there's some gray area with that.
Mm.
A lot of scams run that way
Fair enough.
where they get your dollar and then they just disappear.
Right.
But so it's not, I don't think that would work. But
Okay.
what I'm working, this project that I'm working on is basically you could take a layout that you've designed,
Mm.
you go to this website that I'm making, you put the layout in, and it gives you an instant quote of what it will cost you for me to make 5 keyboards, 5 of those.
Yes.
So let's say you want a 60% keyboard with arrow keys right smack dab in the middle for whatever reason.
Yep.
Nobody's made that before. Actually, I think somebody has. But let's say that's what you want.
Yeah.
You input it in there. It's going to tell you, okay, it's going to cost you $100 per keyboard.
Yep.
And so the quoted price is $500. And then you submit that, I review it, and then I send you the formal quote. All of that's going to be mostly automated. I just need to look at it and make sure that my formula is not completely wrong.
Yeah. How long
And
did that
then
take you to write this formula? Or has it been
um,
ongoing for a long time from when you're creating your own board?
I've been tweaking it a little bit, but just like a day's work of like
Okay.
looking at past pricing of like items, like I'm like taking in the fact like the key count and the square footage of the board or the square inches of the board and all
Yep.
that stuff to bunch of factors. But
Cool.
yeah, and then that way it's like, okay, there's this solid design. I've already got 5 people that want to buy it. I'm already like, if I work on this keyboard, I'm already making a profit because
Yeah.
I'm factoring in engineering time
Into that already.
into the cost of the
That's awesome.
quote. And then I can also put it on my site and sell more.
Yeah. And when it comes to that, is that something that would be copyrighted by you or something like that? Or how does that work?
So I need to
Is it
I need to look into that. I think
right?
it would be
What if
I
someone
think it would
was
be
to
my design.
upload maybe someone else's design and then you go to start printing it
I
and
don't think that
then
you can board layout.
like a Buccanecker
Can
60, like, can you if someone was to upload that and you start selling them and they're doing well, they are open source to some extent, but, like, how
but that's just a regular 60% layout,
true,
right?
true.
Yeah, so it's not, you don't get full control of how it's actually like what it looks like exactly. All of the
Yeah,
keyboards would follow the same design language
right.
because
Okay.
I'm making parametric models so that way when I put in these layouts,
Mhm.
it just generates the keyboard. I can go from keyboard layout right now. I can go from keyboard layout to all of the physical parts designed in about 30 minutes to like an hour.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the circuit board process, I've refined that even further. So that only takes about an hour or 2.
Yeah, nice.
So I could order everything and get everything printed in like 4 hours.
I'd
But
love to go through the process of that with you, but that could be a later video.
yeah,
A
yeah, yeah,
later
let's
discussion.
definitely do that later.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the goal is to eliminate that unnecessary, like, is this
Mhm.
gonna sell? Is it not gonna sell?
Yeah.
So I'm only gonna be doing custom work or new keyboards where people already want it.
People are super interested in it.
Yeah, and I'll probably have an option so that if you wanna buy 1 unit, it'll probably cost you, like, double the amount.
Mm.
So, like, you're not getting, like, your money's worth really, but then I would sell like, I gotta work through the details of it,
Yeah.
but the idea is
You
that,
don't
like
wanna lose money out just because you're making one product for the same person.
yeah, the
So
idea is that I take on that risk and I sell
mhm.
more. on my website.
The thing is, again, though, if you're creating the PCB, you're creating the parametric design from it and all this stuff, would you then say license that or sell that onto the designs specifically, or the model files? Would you sell that on to the customer if they just wanted, say, the parametric design and the PCB design off of their base keyboard design that they give you?
Oh, where I wouldn't produce any
Yeah,
material?
nothing at all. They just want the file, so then they can go and print it. Would you do that sort of thing?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
It wouldn't make sense
Well,
initially.
maybe. I wouldn't probably give the full parametric design. I'd probably give them the outputted
Or
parametric,
like the
like the
STL or
outputted.
something.
Yeah, like possibly the STL.
Yeah.
And the circuit board.
Yeah.
Output. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. You could see that as an option, because that would sort of half the cost for them if they're, say, in like Brazil or something, they can't get something shipped to them, or it's
Yeah, and then they
harder
can
for them.
manufacture it.
Yeah. It's harder for them to
Yeah.
get it or something like that. Yeah, not specifically Brazil, but like this for
Yeah, they'd still be paying for the engineering time,
Mhm.
but they wouldn't be paying for the material,
Yeah.
the time that it would take for me to fulfill the order and
Yeah.
for me to print the order and the materials, printing the circuit board cost.
Cool.
So yeah, it could be like I could have an option for where it's just the service, where I literally just produce the STLs and the circuit board design.
Yep. I like that. I like that.
That could work. So
Because I mean,
that's in the works.
that would end up being less work for you in terms of
Yeah,
probably the
and
same
I would
amount
be
of time,
leveraging.
but less work overall.
Yeah, I would be leveraging the models that I make,
Mhm.
the parametric models that I make,
Yeah,
because there's nothing that I can do really to like make the process of fulfillment go 10 times faster,
that's true.
right? But I can automate a lot of the production of the design materials if
Yeah,
it follows the same design language pretty
that's
easily.
that's it. No, that's great.
Yeah. Another one other There's two other projects that I do want to quickly talk
Of
about,
course.
which I think
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
interesting. I want to make
Or do you wanna keep it for the next episode?
We can talk about it in the next episode in detail, but
Oh, the
there's this
skateboard
board.
keyboard. Yeah,
Yep. I want to make it. I want to open up a service so that people can send in their skateboards, and I will cut them out
there
a
you go.
keyboard kit.
That's awesome.
And then
They would have to really love that keyboard, that
that skateboard.
skateboard. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I want to actually. This has been a prototype for like a year and a half now, and I
Mhm.
want to actually finish this. So
Would you consider
and
doing that, making a music production semi keyboard later down the track? Like just having multiple sliders and then having like a few shortcuts on the side kind of thing. Like having
like this.
Yeah, but having more than
Oh,
one
like a
slider on it.
music production centric keyboard
Yeah.
device.
Have you thought about that
Yeah,
sort of
maybe.
thing before? Or like maybe even a video editing centric device? Because there are a lot of those, but they are
It's
inanely
not really
too expensive.
Yeah, it's not really my expertise, and I don't think I would do it well.
But I mean, being that now you have the parametric design and stuff like that, you could functionally create something. It's just a matter of
So
where.
that would actually be, I think if I was to implement those faders, the motorized faders and stuff, like that would fall outside of the parametric.
Oh
That
no, of course, no, not that part. I'm talking about, say, a bunch of knobs, but they're like maybe a different designed knob that are a lot more smooth or something like that, rather than the standard $2 knob that just clicks around.
I don't know.
I'm thinking down the track of like DaVinci Resolve's keyboard that has like the whole spinny
Yeah.
knobs and stuff like that, which are super smooth, and you can click them, makes it a bit slower and stuff like that, specifically for TV and radio and stuff like that. But if that would be I would love to make one of those, but that's a lot over my head. That's a lot over my head.
Yeah. The challenging part with that is it's only as good as the software that is compared
True.
with it.
The backing part of it, yeah. Like I could
And I
physically
wouldn't be able to do
design
that.
something and it would look great, but
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to get the
It wouldn't
backing.
function well.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
It would
And
look
that's where
okay, but Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
hardest part.
and that's what happened with my very first slider
Mm.
product that I made that I talked about.
Because
It
you
just
have the
didn't function
idea
well.
and you can function it, like make it look awesome, but the back end software part is definitely the most difficult part in those
Yeah.
very complicated keyboards.
Yeah, so to help, like, that problem with this board is I will be open sourcing it from the beginning, and then I will be handpicking, like, 5 developers
Hopefully, they'll
that
be able
will
to help.
I will
Yeah,
make them a board for free 100%, and yeah, after I've designed it, I'll make 5 boards and I'll ship it to them, and
cool.
then we'll work on the firmware for, like, however long it needs to be done, and then I'll release it when it's functionally okay.
That's awesome. I like that. I really like that.
Yep,
But no, going back to bleeping person here, insert person here on the long
yep,
boy. How
yep.
long until that is live or that we
I
know
don't
more
know.
about it?
I don't know how.
Does that mean that you would get sales for this thing, or what is the
Right now, it's not
ideal goal?
available to buy.
No, but what is the ideal
Uh,
goal behind that, giving it to this certain person?
the goal is
Did they come to you directly and ask for it,
yeah,
or
yeah, they did.
right? As I'm trying to be not revealing, but did this person specifically them or their media team or something like that?
Their media team,
Gotcha. Okay.
but it's gonna be
Yeah.
in a video.
Okay. I don't want to ask
Um,
anymore because we don't want to ruin the surprise.
yeah, maybe in, like, a future episode, we can talk more about it
Yeah.
when I know, like, a more timeline, but
Hmm.
who I don't really know exactly what's gonna happen. I just, like, said, like, "You here, you can have it to use." They're gonna send it back when they're done,
Yep.
but just, like,
That's awesome.
I just laid it out that, like, "Hey, I'm a small business and, like, I
Mm.
don't have a huge budget to, like" just, like, basically all I asked is that, like, they, like, feature it and that they talk about, like, what we do
Yep.
for a little bit, and then
Which knowing them, they talk about stuff, so that'd be right.
oh, yeah.
And
I mean,
they're pretty.
how do you not talk about the 7-foot keyboard, right?
That's true. It's like it's that big, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
not talk about it. Or that it's that tall, but also wide.
Yep.
To me, I would always say it's 7 foot tall rather than wide.
Nah, 7 foot wide.
Yes, you always put it on your desk, but still, it's you've
I
only got
know you live in Australia and you measure things probably weird and
yeah.
everything's opposite, but, I mean, come on.
It's a if it's taller than 5 foot, it's it's up and down. It's not side to side. Like for me,
It's not okay, it's 7 feet long, not wide, not tall.
tall.
It's 7 feet long.
Okay, let's
It's
just
like,
say
let's
long
say
then.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that makes
like, how long do you cut a like, how do you cut wood and you're like, "Oh, how long do you cut it?" Or like, "How long does this board need to be?" No,
how tall is
how
this board?
wide does this board need to be? Or how tall does this board No, you say, "How long
Okay,
does this
all
board
right,
need to
fine.
be?" Its length.
Be specific then. Okay.
Yeah. I I did I did think it would be really funny to turn a 2 by 6 into a keyboard.
Yeah, which you did, but not technically.
Not really. Yeah. Made my own 2 by 6.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
They only just scratched the
Oh,
surface on
100%.
a lot of things.
I really wish we
We could narrow it down into, like, a specific category or a
yeah,
specific topic and kinda drill into that
definitely. Like, I'd love to get
in the
more
future.
specific into, like, especially the parametric designs and how you would take someone's design and make it into a PCB. Not giving away all your trade secrets, but,
Yeah.
like, getting there how you can get there so quickly would be quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Like, how in the world do I design do I go from layout to ordering everything in 4
In 4
hours?
hours, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
actually crazy because that's big. That's a big process. What's the word I'm looking for? That's a big process overhaul, I guess, from other people's designing, which would take months to get
Yep.
something to a point where they would design it and it would take them a long time just to draw the PCB lines throughout all the keyboard
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Which, I mean, possibly when we were getting into that sort of a quickness, we would lose out of that detail, most likely, in some way.
Yeah. Yeah, but if it's in the model, like, it's there.
That's it.
All right.
I appreciate it, Jack. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jack.
Really fun.
/ not Jack, but yes, Jack.
Yeah.
I'll do that outro
Yeah.
afterwards because otherwise it's awkward. If someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they get hold of you? What's the best way to get hold of you?
Yeah, you can join our Discord, Pikatea.com/Discord, and you can message me from there. You can send me an email at support@Pikatea.com, or you can like go through our website and do that. Yeah, it's not.
Pikatea is spelled
You
like
just
this,
search
by
for
the way.
me.
Pikatea
Yeah.
is spelled like this. Like I'm pointing to it. It's going to be here. But no, that's awesome. And if you've got any suggestions or anything for future episodes, let me know.